Another U.S. citizen has been shot and killed during ICE operation in the city of Minneapolis.
Then, this time, a 37-year-old male, ICU nurse Alex Pretty. Another American citizen. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry has urged the Trump administration to end the immigration crackdown in the city altogether.
Tonight, growing outrage in the United States after a deadly shooting in the city of Minneapolis involving federal immigration officers. The incident has reignited a fierce national debate over immigration raids, federal use of force, and accountability, particularly when operations involve American citizens not accused of any crime. Minnesota state officials are demanding answers. Civil rights groups are calling for an independent investigation, and the federal government is facing mounting pressure to explain exactly what happened. Here is what we know so far. The shooting occurred during an early morning federal operation in a residential area of Minneapolis. According to federal officials, ICE agents were carrying out what they describe as a targeted immigration enforcement action when the encounter turned deadly. During the operation, an adult male, later confirmed to be a U.S. citizen, was shot by a federal agent. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Federal authorities say the agent discharged their weapon after perceiving a threat. They have not released the name of the agent involved, nor have they provided full details about the sequence of events leading up to the shooting. Local police were not the lead agency in the operation and arrived after the shooting had already taken place. What makes this case especially controversial is the growing gap between official statements and accounts from witnesses and video footage that has surfaced online. Several residents in the area say the victim was not the target of the immigration operation and appeared to be observing or recording the raid when the confrontation occurred. Short video clips circulating on social media appear to show a chaotic scene with multiple armed agents shouting and physical force being used. Authorities have not confirmed the authenticity of the footage, but they say all available evidence, including body camera recordings, is being reviewed. At this stage, it remains unclear whether the victim was armed, whether verbal warnings were issued, or whether less lethal methods were attempted before the fatal shot was fired.
This is CB News. Subscribe to our channel for daily world news update. Stay tuned.
Minnesota's governor described the incident as deeply disturbing and said the state is seeking full transparency from federal agencies. State officials have demanded access to all evidence related to the shooting, including body camera footage, internal reports, and communication records. The Minneapolis Police Department has also confirmed it was not involved in planning or executing the raid and is cooperating with state investigators. Local leaders say the shooting has shaken public trust and raised serious concerns about federal operations being conducted without coordination with city authorities. The Department of Homeland Security says it has launched an internal review, while the Justice Department is expected to assess whether a criminal investigation is warranted. Meanwhile, a federal judge has ordered the preservation of all evidence related to the incident, following legal action by the state of Minnesota seeking greater oversight. Civil rights attorneys argue that internal investigations alone are not sufficient and are calling for an independent external inquiry. They say the killing of a U.S. citizen during an immigration raid represents a serious escalation in enforcement tactics. The shooting has triggered strong reactions across the political spectrum. Democratic lawmakers have condemned the incident, calling it unacceptable and demanding accountability at the highest levels of government. Several members of Congress have questioned why heavily armed immigration agents are conducting raids in residential neighborhoods and what safeguards are in place to protect civilians. Republican leaders, however, have largely defended federal agents, arguing that immigration officers operate in dangerous conditions and must make split-second decisions to protect themselves. Former President Donald Trump, speaking through allies, has framed the incident as a law and order issue, accusing state and local leaders of creating a hostile environment for federal officers. Earlier this month, another U.S. citizen was killed during a separate federal enforcement action in the same city, sparking protests and national headlines. That earlier shooting also involved questions over the use of force, the identification of targets, and the role of federal agencies operating without local oversight. Together, the two incidents have intensified concerns that immigration enforcement tactics are becoming increasingly aggressive, with deadly consequences. The latest shooting has led to protests in several parts of Minneapolis, with demonstrators calling for ICE to be removed from the state. Community leaders say residents are living in fear, uncertain about when or where federal raids may occur. The tension has been felt beyond politics. A major professional basketball game scheduled in the city was postponed amid security concerns, underscoring how deeply the incident has affected daily life. Faith leaders and community organizations are urging calm while also demanding justice and transparency. At the heart of this story is a broader national argument over immigration enforcement in the United States. Supporters of aggressive enforcement say ICE is carrying out its legal mandate and facing increasing resistance. Critics argue that immigration raids have expanded far beyond their original scope, now involving military-style tactics that put ordinary citizens at risk. Legal experts note that while federal agents have broad authority, that power is not unlimited, especially when lethal force is involved. They warn that without clear accountability, trust between communities and law enforcement could erode even further. As investigations continue, several critical questions remain unanswered. Why was the victim involved in the encounter at all? Was the use of lethal force justified under federal guidelines? Were proper identification and de-escalation procedures followed? And why were local authorities not more directly involved? For the family of the victim, those questions are not abstract. They are deeply personal. Tonight, Minneapolis mourns another life lost amid a deeply polarizing national issue. The killing of a U.S. citizen during a federal immigration raid has become a defining moment in the debate over power, policing, and accountability in America.
CB News, bringing you World News Update. Thank you for watching.